When I found out that Kentaro Miura passed away yesterday morning, I really wanted to take my foot off the gas and really appreciate the work of Berserk, Kentaro Miura's greatest work. I really wanted to appreciate how that's influenced so many different mediums across the board, whether it's anime and manga, whether it's Western comics, whether it's video games. Like, I'm a big From Software dude. For example, you have Dark Souls with Artorias, huge influence taken from Guts and the Berserk armor. I just really wanted to sit down and appreciate all of the really amazing things that Kentaro Miura has done via the work Berserk, and just him as an author as a whole, for the industry as a whole. And unfortunately, the world keeps on spinning. Even though I like to pull a Dio Brando of the world and just stop time, to take the time to really appreciate Miura even more, well, a few hours later, there was some big hubbub about, oh, well, looks like the mangas have gotten the top 5 spots in sales in America, and then the comic writers were complaining about how mangaka are sexist, and there's always something. There's always something else. So even though I think that incrementally speaking, I'm going to take some time to reread Berserk a few more times, I do know that the hard copy deluxes on Amazon, they were just flying off the shelves. I mean, right here, oh man, these boys right here, flying off the shelves. People were buying them en masse, and the main reason why, obviously, is we all love and appreciate the work that Kentaro Miura has created, mainly Berserk, obviously. But what happens from here on out? We really appreciate the 363 chapters that we got. And I do know that 364 was going to come out earlier this year, but it was delayed for a particular reason. I don't know why. It could be for, I think it may be for health reasons. And given hindsight, now we can see why. And I don't know. I have no idea if the aortic dissection that he had could have been taken care of. I have zero medical expertise at all. I'm just a fat black dude from Long Island. That's it. That's all I am. Okay? So people were saying they could have been taken care of. That's what I've been seeing on Twitter, but I don't know how much of that is actually emotions. And yeah, I do want to point the finger at stress in the workplace, which probably could have played a role in this situation with Kentaro Miura, which led to his passing, ultimately speaking. However, I have no idea if he himself was taking good care of his own body, like whether he was, I mean, this come from me, so take it with a big grain of salt, like a huge grain of salt. But whether it was him eating the right foods or him exercising, I don't know. I don't know. Only those closest to him would know. And for someone like me, a fan from afar, I can really only speculate at this point in time. So what happens to Berserk now? That is the unfortunate reality that we have to come to terms with. Latest chapter, again, 363. Ends off with the Moonlight Boy coming back into the story. The theorized child of Guts and Casca. And because 364 was slated to come out early this year, there's a good chance that's going to come out at some point later this year, next year. At this point in time, Guts really trying to figure out what he's going to do from now on after we've gotten Casca her memories back, though looking at Guts is clearly affecting her in a big way, putting it mildly. And from here on out, Guts, where his journey goes is going to be very intriguing. According to, of course, Skull Knight, the flow of causality hasn't linked up yet. There is still something along the track of causality that is going to happen involving Guts in a big way. And now comes again the Moonlight Boy, and we'll see how things play out because I'm pretty sure that we are going to be getting chapter 364, because that was supposed to come out earlier this year anyway. But after chapter 364, I am not too sure what happens. All right, I mean, in terms of the actual, maybe Kentaro had several chapters already, manuscript already written out, and some of those already done. Though I'm not too sure if the assistants and editors can duplicate the level of artwork that Miura is known for. Of course, obviously, they play a big role in that, especially nowadays. However, we do know that Miura was very anal about certain things and make sure that certain details were right and drawn the way he wanted them to be drawn. So, one of the major options that we're going to get for Berserk, which is the option that no one wants, I think, but it's possible, that's the cancellation, flat out, of Berserk. Let me not say no one wants it. Maybe some folks would want it. Actually, maybe a large portion of the fandom would want it, because the fear is that moving forward, what we get with Berserk is not what we're accustomed to with Berserk. Meaning, keeping it a buck, Berserk would lose quality. I don't know. It's a tough call to make. It's a really tough call to make. Personally, I would want to see it continue at least for a little while longer. And then maybe not have a true ending, a complete ending, but a pseudo ending, an open ending, which I think is more likely, where we know that Kentaro, he has been training some of his assistants, and we did see this come to a head with the one series, Duranki, that was done by Studio Gaga. Weird name, but that's Kentaro Studio. I think that these individuals that he's trained, his assistants, the editors that he's worked with, and so on, they can probably get the story to a particular point and then leave it at an open end. So there's going to be probably no closure on various things, like Casca and Guts ever really being together again, or potentially Guts defeating Griffith, or Griffith himself taking Falconia to the utopia that he has envisioned it truly to be. Because at this point in time, they're trying to reclaim the old kingdom stuff, and they just defeated some giants. So there are a lot of things that I obviously wanted to see, especially the idea of evil stuff and the abyss. And now you have Shirka learning about the whole the daemon stuff, demons essentially, as far as I can understand. And then so if Shirka were to stay in Elfheim, she would learn about maybe some of this daemon stuff, which would maybe in theory lead to either some God hand stuff or some idea of evil stuff. And even the defeat of the God hand now is probably never going to happen as a result, now I think about it. But then the daemon stuff, God hand stuff, maybe abyss stuff, which would all culminate with the idea of evil, potentially. If that was something that Miura wanted to bring back into the story later on in the story. So these are all things that I theorize could happen to the series, but now no longer, probably. These things would simply be left out in the open for interpretation, and then the story itself was never really truly finished. So the story would continue, but only for a certain amount of time, until a certain point, like let's say when Guts and company, they leave Elfheim, and then the story ends on that note. Kind of like a Toriko-ish ending, where it ends up on a whole new adventure. So that's how Berserk could end as well, which I think I would prefer compared to it just being flat out canceled. Because I'm hoping that Miura, because he's been very open with his staff about where he envisioned the story to go. So I think that they can actually take that to a certain extent. However, to an actual true conclusion, I think is very difficult at this point in time to gauge. Again, only the editors, only the staff of Studio Gaga, only friends and family, only they would really know. Like maybe Kentaro told some of his family or one of his friends the actual ending of Berserk, and then they themselves will feel obligated to tell Studio Gaga, or maybe Studio Gaga themselves actually know. I don't know. people that are close to him know about the ending of Berserk, then there'll be a chance where his assistants and his editors take up the mantle for the long haul moving forward. But a lot of the details and the subtlety, I don't think are ever going to be, they just can't do it. Because of course, what's going on in Kentaro's mind is unique to him. There's gonna be things that we're accustomed to Berserk. If we do get a long going Berserk until an actual conclusion, there are gonna be certain things that are not going to be the same. Now, real quick though, one of the assistants of Kentaro Miura, Hideki Sugimoto, he did say on Twitter, yeah, I'll do my best, which to me means that they're gonna try and continue moving forward with Berserk, but which is why I think number 2 among my options is the most likely. But how long will that be? That is the unfortunate reality. As a fan, I can, at this point in time, just simply appreciate the impact, the work, and the legacy that Kentaro Miura has left behind. So tomorrow on the channel, we'll get back to usual form. There's things to do, unfortunately. But a lot of folks are asking me, like, what was my take on where things are gonna go from here? And that's my stance. I'm gonna see you guys and gals on the flip side. You guys and gals, take it easy, and please, 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 never forget Kentaro Miura. I'm gonna see y'all later. Take care. Have a nice one.